What up, social media? What's up, Gumbo Nation? Yeah, we got a good show planned for you today. Talking about rates, crazy by the numbers. Also, just the difference. You need to know what type of lenders are out there. We're going to discuss that with you today. Live right here, Mortgage Gumbo. Yeah. All right. What's cooking, Gumbo Nation? You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, and I'm your host, Dwayne Stein, the Gulf South Mortgage Authority. And if you want to join the show, 504-260-0995, or you can shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com. And, we've got a great show planned for you today. Credit Awareness Month was amazing. I cannot tell you how many people we had, how many people I've shared our All About Credit webinar with who, maybe missed the show. Also, listen, the home away from the show, we've got a library. We have a library of all our shows. Just go to mortgagegumbo.com and click on past shows. It's all right there for you. So that way, hey, if there's something you want to go check it out, plug in a keyword and you can locate it right there. So that way you can stay up to date in case you miss a show. Because, hey, outside of my mom and a couple close family members, I know you got lives, right? And my mom's the only one, I think, and my dad who've caught every minute of every show. So, hey, it is what it is. So, very fortunate. I know they're going to tune in every single week. So, listen, today we're going to talk about where are rates at, right? Because the days of just showing up and me going, hey, it's all-time lows, you know what? Those days have changed. We are, as we discussed last week, I love to use acronyms, so we're in a RRE right now. That's a rising rate environment. So what does that mean? How do you know when should I lock? What should I do? Well, for you, it's not really for you to know. It's for you to work with a lender that knows how to do that for you. So today what I want to do is I'm going to break down, hey, what are the differences between different lenders? Meaning a bank, okay, a broker, and then myself, a correspondent lender. So we're going to break those things down because in the environment that we're in now, you can't afford to miss. And no matter what environment, when it comes to purchasing a home or refinancing or building, you have to understand you can't get it wrong when it comes to a mortgage. It's the largest investment. It's the most important investment you're ever going to make in your lifetime, in my opinion. So we don't want you to miss on that. So we are going to dive into that in deep detail on what is that. And I got a great question this week as well. We're going to talk about rates naturally. And I went back and did a little research. So we're going to go back over the last 5 years and kind of get into where rates have been, because everybody's got to sort of relax. I'm amazed at the conversations that I'm having with some of you, and I get it. But some of you, I want you just to relax. Just relax and understand that these are amazing times. When you go back and look at historically what the rates are, last year was a little bit of fool's gold. We had a pandemic. Look what it did. It shut down our entire country. Heck, it shut down a lot of the world. So what you got last year was, hey, a bazillion of you took advantage of it. So for those who maybe didn't or couldn't at that time for some reason, there's still so much opportunity for you. So much opportunity. And the reason why I bring that up is this. This week, I had a conversation with a client who is at 4.75%. Okay. She's a single mother. She's a school teacher. Probably knows somebody like that, right? Who has some credit card debt. And again, is at 4.75. Wants to refinance. Don't know if it's a forever home. Probably not. Daughter's 8 years old right now. So probably as a single mom, as a teacher with an 8-year-old, she can't say that this is her forever home. She got the home in a divorce, right? So wants to refinance or needs to refinance to get the ex-husband off of the loan, okay? So because she got the home in a divorce. Well, interest rates don't know that you weren't divorced. Interest rates don't know of what's going on with your personal situation, right? So she came to me and the rates are kind of all over the place. And so she was, and this is where I want y'all to understand. I'm not preaching to you. I just want you to understand, because I talk to a lot of people every single week. I talk to you, and y'all all know you get to speak to me personally. So it's a nonstop thing. And especially now more than ever. Nobody really cared to talk to me when you're giving them all-time low rates. That's easy. They don't need me. Now they want to talk to me. They want to understand. And you should. And that's why today I want to break down what different types of lenders are. Yeah, excuse me on that one. Because you need to know, and you should want to know what those differences are. So this single teacher, 8-year-old daughter, we are getting husband off. We're getting debt paid off, and is upset because when they came to me last year, husband said, I'm not doing it to try to refinance when the rates were lower. He wasn't willing to sign off on the loan. He said, nope, I'm not gonna sign off, because in the state of Louisiana, this is a Louisiana client, in the state of Louisiana, it's a community property state. So there's no such thing. There's no such thing as separated. In the state of Louisiana, you're married or unmarried, okay? That's a community property state. So wasn't willing to sign off. Well, here we come. Now the divorce is final versus last August. Now the divorce is final. He has to sign off. But part of the deal is she's got to refinance, get him off the loan, blah, blah, blah. Well, now, when we talked last September, the interest rate was lower by about, I don't know, I think it's 40 basis points. So back then she was getting like 2.625. Now she's getting 3 1/8 or 3 1/4, something like that. And she's like, well, I don't think it's worth it. Now, keep in mind, She is getting her husband off of the loan. We're paying off debt that is going to save her over $450. So, listeners, what I have to do, or what I'm trying to do, is protect you from yourself here. Because she's like, well, then the rate was lower. Okay, well, now you're getting a house that's in your name, and you're looking at, from a standpoint of 3.125 or 3.25, what are we really arguing about here? And not arguing, but you know what I'm saying, and I get it. We talk about it all the time. The euphoria of the rate going down is so much more painful than the agony of defeat when the rates go up. But when you're saving hundreds of dollars like this single teaching, the reason why I'm bringing this case up, and I've got dozens of them I could share with you, is because I know many of you out there are wondering, well, rates are going up. Should I really refinance? Is it too late? Listen, there's so much that we will put together for you. We'll look at the amortization. We'll let you know, is it worth it? So for this lady, she was going to save $72,000 over the life of the loan. She's going to save if she stays in it forever. She don't know if it's forever, but you know what she's going to do immediately? Is save close to $400 a month. No, is it the $438 she was going to save back in September? No, but it's still $400. So when you start talking about us, when we get in a rate watch and we're telling you what the rates are, understand the 16 times of all-time lows and all those things, those days are over. So you got to start accepting the new norm. And don't step over dollars to pick up dimes. Don't miss out on opportunities because you feel like you missed out on something already. Because it's still an amazing time. The value of your home's never been better. The opportunities, the guidelines are as good as they've ever been. So my point of bringing up this story is just understanding. We don't want you to miss out on the opportunities that are out there. And you could always, hey, if you want to know, is it worth it? We got a spot for you. Hundreds of you visit it a week. Hundreds. That's snapsendandsave.com. Hey, on the other side of the break, we're going to get into some numbers. We're going to start. I just got an amazing question. You know what? I just got a great question that we're going to share with you on the other side of the break. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. My boogie shoe. What up, D Quick? How you doing, brother? I see you out there hanging out, my man. Get you some of that knowledge, buddy. Keep kicking butt. Your mom told me how good you're doing on those tests, brother. I'm proud of you, man. What up, Mills? Hey, it's a Mortgage Gumbo super fan right there. Hey, Tiffany. Hope you're out selling some real estate today. What up, Chipper? Hey, great broadcast last night, man. Y'all doing it right with the streaming, man. Doing it right, bro. What up, David? Tax assessor, Wendy Thibodeau checking in. Hey, your day's coming. In May, you know you'll be getting my call. So look forward to having you back on the show. You are always, always amazing. I want to put on. That's KC, right? Yeah, man. They back in the day when you worked in corporate America and you did well for yourself, they had these yearly award shows, man. And one year, that year the company did good, man. We had Lou Holtz spoke, yeah, and then Casey and the Sunshine Band was the band for the closeout party, man. Yeah. 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 Heck, even Aerosmith, you know what I'm saying? All right. Welcome back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio. Hey, if you want to join the show, 504-260-0995, or you can shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com. Yes, this is another t-shirt, po'boy.com t-shirt I am wearing. So, hey, go check out any of the social media posts if you want to see what I got going on today. This segment is going to be brought to you by The Fence King. Visit FenceThisYard.com, FenceThisYard.com. 20 years experience, 200 5-star Google reviews, plus hundreds more on Facebook. One of a kind virtual fence designer. It puts you in control. Zero high pressure sales. Also offers tropical storm and hurricane posts. And his work always comes with a warranty. Visit FenceThisYard.com. So, I just got a great question as we were heading to the break. And, we're going to get into Rate Watch. And, my show, we kind of, there's no set tone here. Just kind of, we go as we need to. But it just said, Dwayne, you're talking about interest rates and a rising rate environment. But everything that I'm seeing on TV, which, hey, that's scary, is stating that the rates are still at zero. So why are you saying mortgage rates are going up? Okay. Awesome question. Awesome question. So what I would say is this, okay? Probably a newer listener. Some of you may know this, but you know what? If you do, it just confirms how smart you are. But what you are hearing when you hear the Jerome Powell speaking and you hear them talking about zero interest rates and keeping the rates at zero, that is what's called the federal funds rate. That is where banks lend to banks. Those are also known as short-term rates. So whenever you're hearing zero being mentioned, or they go, hey, the federal office is having a meeting. The feds are having a meeting. We're going to see what they're going to say. Are they going to raise rates? That has zero to do with mortgage rates. Nothing. Okay? Last year, coincidentally, when rates were at zero, well, we had a pandemic going on. So that's when the United States stepped in and started buying trillions upon trillions of dollars of mortgage-backed securities or bonds, 10-year treasuries, which is why that went down to 0.40 or 0.22 and all that. So it was total coincidence. Again, federal funds rates, because this is important for you to know. I don't want you to be fooled by headlines out there. Federal funds rate has to do with short-term rates, overnight rates, right? Bank A may call Bank B and go, hey, I need a quick 10 mil. I'll have it back in your depository by close of business today at whatever, 0.00025. Think about it this way. You know federal funds rates are low because simply go look at your checking and savings account and how much they are paying you, right? Which is pretty much zilch. How much interest on your statement every month? And because that is so low, that is how you know. Those are short-term rates. Now, let's hop across the street, right? Still in the same neighborhood. We live in the neighborhood of rates. So we hop across the street, and those are long-term rates. That is your mortgage rates. That is where you're looking at your 10-year treasuries, your yields there, seeing where those are. That is right now what is all over the place. Okay? So mortgage rates are long-term, right? 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Those are long-term rates. Those are long-term rates. So there's a big, big difference. That's why we always kind of say, look at the 10-year treasury. And if you just want kind of a little trick, just add 1.75 to that. Hey, I wonder what mortgage rates are doing today. Take what the 10-year treasury's at and add 1.75, and it'll give you a pretty good idea of where a 30-year conventional's at. So, you know, why all of a sudden? So that was a great question. So again, federal funds rates are short-term rates, mortgage rates are long-term. So that's a great question by Donnie. So why? Why all of a sudden are rates rising almost, look, I'll use the word relentless, right? Why are rates rising right now? Okay, well, February was the first time in the last 2 decades. So decade's 10 years, right, Dave? Is that correct? I don't want to put you on the spot. Okay, thank you. So a decade. So February is the first time in 2 decades. So 10 years times 24. So no, 10 years times 12 is 120. So in 240 months, February is the first time that rates spiked by 0.5%. 0.5%. Okay? So you have to understand when we're talking about a rising rate environment, that's the first time. Now, it spiked from, 2.77 to, 3.27. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about the 0.5%, we're now looking at there's different loan types as well. But we're just assuming a conventional mortgage right now. Now, when will it stop? Here is my humble opinion. Okay, hey, just got a question on Facebook. Hey, where do you think rates are going? Great stuff, Emil. Thanks for always checking in, brother. So here's the thing. It's almost a catch-22 because let's call it a plan, right? What is the plan? Well, the plan is get people back to work, right? The plan is get the economy back growing, right? The plan is cut all this virtual school baloney. The plan is take off the frickin' mask, right? The plan is be able to go to the bar and stay there and have a giggle with a partner or two past 11. The plan is go to a restaurant and be able to eat and not be having to wait or just, you get what I'm saying. So that's why, as you see these things opening up, for instance, hey, St. Tammany announced they're going back in the fall. I saw a bunch of colleges going back to school. By John Bell announced, hey, we're at phase 3, which means, so as the economy gets better, guess what? That means inflation starts to come into play. And what does inflation mean? Hey, rising prices, meaning people can afford more. So that's what you have to understand. So as the plan, which the plan is to beat this pandemic, right? Well, as there's more demand, guess what? Prices get higher. That's inflation. Okay, so as prices get higher and different things like that, you have when COVID starts to recede, while things are getting better and people are going back to work, all these other things are going on. Well, then we don't need rates at all time lows. It was fool's gold. It was a blessing last year for most. A blessing for most. Except for some of my friends who I know who are landlords who haven't been able to collect rent checks for a year. You know, these are the things that are going to start to go away. Well, as that starts to happen, you start to hear the words, and they're talking about what is inflation. So as inflation goes up, guess what? Well, inflation, they don't like the bonds. The bonds are safe. They're secure, right? That's the 10-year treasury. That's the long-term rates. When our people start going, hey, what is short term? What do we start looking at here? So that's where, as the plan, so to speak, gets better, you're going to see rates going up. Okay? But we got to look at it. We're going to cover that in the next segment on Rate Watch. You got to look at it as a whole. It's not a bad thing. And is it where it was in 2020? You can't compare that. 2020 is like for you golfers out there who had a 20-mile-an-hour wind behind you, and you go tell everybody you hit 400-yard drives. No, you got one up into a wind stream behind a 20-mile-an-hour wind behind you, and you hit a 400-yard drive. 2020 was the they person. I talk about it all the time with my clients. 2020 was the year of the they. They catch the big fish. They know everything. They is the drunken uncle. So we can't compare everything to 2020. So let's kind of get back, regroup, and let's start getting back into what the norms are. That's what we want to talk about. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just put it up on on one of the walls. Yeah. Right. Right. Ever. Dude, we got to do that. We got to do that. Oh, we do the what's it called where you go under the stick? We do the limbo. Rates are getting a little bit lower now. All right. All right. All right. Yep. We're back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio. This segment's brought to you by Solar Alternatives. Visit SolAlt, SOLALT.com, Gulf South's leader in solar battery backup and energy management systems. Been serving Louisiana and Mississippi homeowners for over a decade, since 2008. Listen, reduce your electric bills. Make sure during power outages that you have power. And it's an investment with a proven return, and ask about their tax credits. You can't miss. I took advantage of this. I'm already seeing results in my electric bill. You're looking at visit Sol, SOLALT, SolAlt.com. So let's get into our weekly segment we like to call Rate Watch. So, Rate Watch is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. It's America's first handcrafted vodka. So, a couple things I want to kind of go over with you is this, okay, as we get into rates. Please, it's tax season. I know people want to get that money. Nobody likes Uncle Sam. Nobody. We could fight him, we would. Every one of us would like a shot at Uncle Sam. However, please, I saw it again this week, and one time is too many. If you're thinking about making a purchase, such as a home or refinancing or anything like that, please get with your lender first before filing your taxes. I'm not telling you not to file, but get with your lender before filing your taxes. I'm watching people throw away thousands upon thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, so they can get a couple extra bucks on their tax returns. And when your CPA says, no, this is what you need to do, they are looking at it from a CPA's standpoint, right? So when the CPA says, oh, they shouldn't need that, that's from their standpoint. I don't tell them what they need. So they need to not be advising you when it comes to the lending side. So just be careful. If you're thinking about making a purchase, get with me first. Great example of that is this week had somebody got me their last 2 years' taxes before they filed. Hadn't filed in 2 years, got with me, looked over them, said, hey, we need to look at this, we need to fix this, take a deduction there, and voila. They're out looking for $300,000 houses versus being turned down. If they would have filed the other way, they'd have been looking at a $180,000 house. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that's my soapbox tip of the week. Also, you can always visit snapsendandsave.com. So let's get into our weekly rates here. You're looking at 30-year. Last week was at 3.27. This week's at 3.29. And you go, well, hey, that's not that bad. And it's not. But you've got so much volatility that's going on during the week. You need to make sure that you're working with a lender that knows when to lock you in. That is the key there. Because if the week would have ended on Wednesday, those rates would have been at about 3.4. That's how crazy it is on a day-to-day, heck, an hour-to-hour basis right now in the lending world. And people who just got into this to make a quick buck, hey, I'm glad because I already see them exiting. And y'all keep up the horrendous work, schmuckatellis, because you just keep sending folks over to me. So 30-year, 3.29. 15-year, last week was at 2.64. No move there. FHA, 2.88. Hey, 2.85 this week. Jumbo, 3.50. This week, 3.40. You got to know when to lock these things in so you can take advantage of it, okay? And then adjustable rate, last week, Hey, Matthew and Metairie asks, what's the poop on adjustable rate? Let me tell you, my brother, and I know you've been a long-time listener, my man. Here's the poop. Listen to this. Oh, you want to get into that adjustable rate? Last week was 2.44. This week's at 2.60. That was the highest mover. Adjustable rates are not the game as rates are going up. And be careful. You're starting to hear these words, teaser rates. Already starting to hear it. Oh, well, your rate's only this. It's this for the first 6 months. Then it goes to that. Be careful. Because as Matthew and Metairie said, hey, give me the poop on this. They're the devil in disguise. Adjustable rates. The devil in disguise. I'm telling you now. So be careful. Listen to this number right here. The average single-family home in the U.S. of A. has appreciated 39% over the last 5 years, ending on December 20th. 39%. So for you who are sitting on the sideline saying, I don't know, should I get involved? I want to wait for lumber prices to go down. What? 40% improvement. Homes have appreciated 40%. You can't not invest. It's always a great investment, is your home. Always. So while you're sitting there wondering, hey, should I? Is now a good time? Ask the people over the last 5 years where it's gone up 40%. Would you not take in 5 years if you bought your house? And I can tell you, we have a program that can show you that. That's another thing, too. You know what? I just, the heck with all these other numbers. I want to get in because I need to make sure that I handle this. Because, we got a call a couple weeks ago. I don't remember if it was when I was doing Gregory Ricks's show, Winning at Life, amazing show, him and Parker. But, I got a call on, hey, well, why should I work with you versus my local bank or a broker? And we were doing credit awareness. So February is always credit awareness month. But, it's given me some time to sort of put some things together. So let me get into that because as we sit here and, people are like, hey, should we get into a house? Should we invest? What about this? What about that? What rates? Listen, in a nutshell, there's 3 types of lenders out there. 3, okay? There's banks, brokers, and what I am, which is considered a correspondent lender. Okay? So I want to break these down for you. Okay? So let's start with banks, who I affectionately call schmuckatellis as often as I can. Banks should be left to being depositories. Okay? No, not suppositories, depositories. Because there's no way in the world I'm trusting my most valuable asset to the young lady or gentleman who one day is taking my deposit in the drive-up window, and then the next day I come in is sitting asking me questions about a mortgage. So let's get into the banks real quick here. Let's sort of knock them out. Then we'll get into brokers. Then we'll get into correspondent lenders. And then we're going to kind of compare here. Banks, they work in a box. Banks work for, they're booking a loan that's best for their bank. What makes them the most money? That's why when you go there, they tell you you need 20% down. That's why when you go to a bank, they tell you that, hey, you're under a 680, we can't help you. You're under a 620, we can't help you. A bank, the people you're talking to about your life's biggest investment, are not licensed. Ask them their name, go to NMLS. Let me repeat that, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Go see when that bank, and see if it's an individual NMLS number or if it's the bank's NMLS. That's how you know they've not been licensed. They don't do the annual training. Let's compare a bank to this, okay? Let's compare it to this real quick. There's doctors out there, right? Well, guess what? You go over to Party City, there's doctors' costumes. So just because I put on a white coat and a plastic stethoscope, don't make me no doctor. So just because banks offer mortgages, it doesn't mean that it's the best thing for you. And I don't care that you've got your money there, and when I put banks, I'm including credit unions. I love it. These are the folks who don't know what they're doing, and nor do they care. You want to know why? Because they're getting paid whether they help you or not. Me personally, I got zero salary. Zero. So if I do not close your loan, if I do not put you in a loan where you say yes, I don't get paid. So again, banks, work in a box. Take forever to close your loans because Sue, who's in the drive-up window, is also the person that's got to prepare your loan file. And they got to go to the drive-up window because there's too many cars that came over for lunch. So you have all these things that you're having to deal with. So that's why their loans take 60 plus days. And then they come back and go, hey, this rate changed, that rate changed. We're going to get into a little bit more because it's so important during this time that you know who, what, where, when, why, and how. You've got to be able to answer every single one of those questions when it comes to your most valuable asset. You are listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. Whew. I get fired up about this, man. Okay. Well, we'll hit that next. We'll get into it next week. Yo. All right. Hit me with the 2-minute and all that stuff. Yeah, no. That's fine. Yeah, I got it. We'll cover them next week. Yep. Yep. All right. We'll get them next week. No. Let's hit them next week because I want to make sure I cover this topic. Tell them we'll get them next week. Yeah. Yep. Man, we busted out the 8-track this week, folks. Let's groove tonight. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeart Radio. This segment's brought to you by Avenue Plumbing. Visit BeAvenuePlumbing.com. 20 years experience, licensed and insured. Reliability, great cost. Guy is absolutely Mark Avenue, great guy. You want to visit BeAvenuePlumbing.com. So we're talking about the different types of lenders. And when we got into the break, we were talking about the banks, okay? I'll give you a great example of why I don't like banks, period, okay? Number one, think about it just as a business standpoint. They take your money, right? They tell you got to put down more money than you need to. Then they take your money. They give you no money on that money, and then they use that money to lend out to other people, right? So that just, the whole system to me, just from bank standpoint, I don't like it. And you could tell them I said that. You know, the bottom line is, hey, like Emil's saying here, hey, I used to retail years ago. I walked in looking for a home loan, and I was able to tell them when talking to the person that it was a big joke trying to even deal with a bank for a home loan. They didn't know what they were talking about. And it's not their fault. Somebody there has a job. Somebody at a bank has a job. So good for them. When I'm putting my most valuable asset up on and I'm making the biggest financial decision of my life, I don't want somebody that has a job. I want somebody that is is helping me. They make a career out of this. They make lending a career because they know how to find out what I'm looking for. Okay? But a bank, a couple weeks ago, 549 credit score. Went to the bank, strung them along for months. We're building a house, sold their other house. Strung them along. Oh, yeah, we should be able to do it. We got to sit down. We got to talk to our board members. You know, can you bring in some coffee and some cookies? We got to talk to our board members. And then the meeting got canceled because of this or that. They were 18 days out from their closing when they got told, sorry, we can't help you. They're a 549 credit score. They called us. And you know what? We closed them in 12 days. And I can't do that for every one of you. This particular person had assets. They were able to put down the money I told them I needed them to get approved. But that's my point. Otherwise, these people would have sold their house and been left homeless. Homeless. That's why I don't recommend using banks. Deposit your money, go through the drive-thru, get the lollipop when you walk in, say hi to them, and move out. These banks now, they're ghost towns. They're ghost towns. So the next type of lender is what's called a broker. So let's talk about brokers for a second. Now, brokers, they are licensed. They are required to do training. But brokers, the difference between a broker and myself, who's a correspondent lender, is they don't use their own money. I use my own money. Brokers do not. So what does that tell you? Do you think you could get it as cheap with a broker as you can with a correspondent lender that's using their own money? No. And why is that? Because there's a middleman. Or woman, we don't want to offend anybody. So when it comes to brokers, they have a little, I don't want to say less value because there's some great brokers out there. But brokers are basically what they're looking at is they are shopping you through multiple lenders, almost like going to a car dealership. They're going to shop you and see who gives them the best deal. So then they could come back and try to sell you on what their best deal is. Then if it don't work with that person, they'll go to investor B, C, and go down the line until you say yes. Brokers' fees are higher. Brokers on average take longer to close their loans. And the reason being is this. They're going to different investors. So while a broker may close 10 loans with investor A, well, and maybe it's the same investor that I have. But when you package up all of my loans, right, that's 1,500 of them, who do you think the investor's going to like more? The 1,500 loans that the correspondent lender sends, or the 10 from that one particular branch? Because brokers are individualized. They're treated individually. But much, much better than the banks. Okay? Then you get to the correspondent lender. So why? Why, Dwayne, should we use a correspondent lender? Why should we use you? Okay? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Number one, if banks or brokers was a better opportunity, you think I'd be sitting here having this radio show, helping tens of thousands of you a month with information, education, and options, setting records every single month, more people coming to me than ever, if it wasn't the best place to go? No. You're smarter than that as listeners. You'd see right through it. So correspondent lenders is simple, okay? Number one, we, as I stated earlier, lend our own money. We sell directly to the secondary market. So why today, when rates are a raising rate environment, why are my rates cheaper than banks and brokers? Because I'm selling direct to the secondary market. I'm selling direct to Fannie and Freddie and Ginnie Mae. And for all those people that hate the federal government and all that, hey, that's your political stuff, but guess what? They're the reason why the rates were so low last year. And because as a correspondent lender, I lend my own money, which means we are direct. Then we can even get into that. What's a direct correspondent lender versus a non-direct or a mini correspondent lender? Well, as direct as I just stated, we lend directly to the secondary market. So nobody gets their money cheaper than we do. Our fees are reduced because we control it. We control it. We're able to do more volume because we have cheaper rates, because we lend direct to the secondary markets. If you went over to Roms with Mace or Roms with Kells, Margot, you go to that brick and mortar place that is a half a mile down the street from me, their rate will be 100% more. 50% higher, or 0.5% higher, I'm sorry. And you know why? Because they got to pay brick, mortar, and employees that are in there. If we sell to them on the back end, they don't pay me a dime until they buy in the loan. So I put those savings over to you. We also have in-house underwriting. So that's why we close our loans in 15, 20 days. There's exceptions when there's title issues and different things like that. That's for everybody. But on average, we close our loans in less than 18 days. That's refinances and purchases. Normally, we're waiting on the sellers to get out of the house. This is a topic that we'll make sure that we continue to touch on. But you want to go to NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Go check out that lender, even if they're licensed. Go see how many different companies they've been to. They've been to 5, 6, 7 companies in the last 3 years. That ain't good. You know what you're going to see when you go check out, look up Dwayne Stein on NMLSconsumeraccess.com? You know what you're going to see? .org, I'm sorry. You're going to see one guy that's been at the same place for 10 plus years. Till next week, Gumbo Nation, keep stir in the pot.